What is your American dream?
I come from Myanmar. The American dream to me is to be able to start my own business one day.
I am from Texas. My family is from Guatemala. My American dream is pursuing happiness while also having stability.
I am from Connecticut. My American dream is to fight for justice and to scream for the voiceless.
I'm from the former Soviet Union, which is now known as Russia. The American dream to me, despite being an immigrant, means to give the opportunities and dreams to my children the same way that my family gave to me.
I'm from China. My American dream is to be a fashion designer in New York because I love fashion so much.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. Welcome, everybody. It is Bradshaw Live. It is Wednesday, June 23rd. You may notice I am not in my studio. I'm actually in our conference room here at Spar and Bernstein. It just gets wackier every day. We thought yesterday we had a solution to our cut wires. Apparently, people were rewiring and our studio is in disarray. So while the studio is in disarray and we have a bunch of engineers working to hopefully get it back up and going, hopefully tomorrow, and I can then be back joined by Yo-Yo and Vanessa. We're going old school off my telephone today from the conference room. So Squaddies, you are my co-host for the day. You always are my co-host for the day. But especially these days when we're getting our production studio back and organized, you are definitely our co-hosts for the day. Because I am doing it old school from my phone instead of from our studio, I'm only going to be able to take your immigration questions today in the comment section. For those who watched during the pandemic when I was doing it from my dining room table, we're doing it again like that, except from the conference room table today. So leave all your immigration questions in the comment section. Every person who has their immigration question asked in the comment section, both on YouTube and Facebook, I will answer your question. I will not be done with this show until every person's question is answered, both on YouTube and Facebook. So make sure you ask that question. And if I don't see it, ask it again. But don't ask it 10 times because I'm going to get annoyed. I'm going to say, come on, man, you asked the same question 10 times. But if I don't see it, I give you permission to ask it a second time and maybe a third time, but that's it. But in the meantime, let's say hello to the squad. Let's see who's joining us on Facebook today. Jessica Leamy, squad up. Pape Samuel, squad up. How are you? Jessica Leamy says it's hump day, baby. Well, yeah, we're going to do hump day. I won't have Yo-Yo's perspective and Vanessa's perspective on hump day, but hopefully I got the squaddies' perspective on hump day. We'll see. I don't even know what our hump day is yet. We'll find out soon enough. Chetty Mandori, squad up. Pretty Chef Ferreira, notifications on. Class is on. Violet Blackwood, squad up. Naked Wire, how are you, squad up? Tito Affleck, I see you watching. Wes Bess, I also see you watching. Carol Anderson, the Tiger, squad up. Violet Blackwood, squad up. Marcia McCullough. Latoya His Forever Peterson, still with him. And who else we got here? Joy Titus. Haven't seen Joy in a while. Welcome back, Joy. Nina God Pickney, squad up. Lisa Bling, what's going on? And let's see what's going on YouTube. Westman, who's also Pape, double fisting. Squad up. David Burchell, squad up. What's going on? Susie Q. Olivia Love, squad up to everybody. Tali, not here yet. So I'm going to tell everybody, give a thumbs up on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube so that way you know every time we come live. We like to come live around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes we get our wires crossed. We come a little later. We come a little earlier. On Fridays, we pop up much earlier. So if you subscribe, you will get the notification and you will find out every time we come on live. So please make sure you subscribe. And if you like me, you like this show, give me a thumbs up. Why not? Tell the world this is a pretty goddamn good show. Even from my conference room, old school, with my telephone. And of course, on Facebook, we want you to follow us as well and like us as well. And therefore, you would also be notified when we come on live. But right now, before we get into schmoozing, I do got to remind everybody the telephone number to reach Spar and Bernstein is 1-800-529-5465. We're not going to be able to take your telephone calls today. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'm hoping tomorrow that we will be able to be back in studio. I will be able to take your calls and we'll do a regular Brad Show Live. This is not necessarily a pop-up show. This is one of our old school post-pandemic, pre-pandemic, whatever you want to call it, shows right off the telephone. All right. With that said, let's get into some schmoozing, see what's going on in the world, guys. With Schmoozing with Brad. So yesterday, the United States Homeland Security Department said asylum seekers whose claims were dismissed or denied under the Trump administration policy that forced them to wait in Mexico for court hearings are going to be allowed to return for another chance at humanitarian protection. The Associated Press reported that registration began today for asylum seekers who were subject to the Remain in Mexico policy and had their cases dismissed or denied for failing to appear in court. Syracuse University's Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse has said that the move could benefit 34,528 migrants who applied for asylum. 27,842 of them were denied for failing to appear in a court. 6,686 cases were dismissed. And really what happened is that they made a court case for them, but they were stuck in Mexico and weren't allowed into their court. It was a complete violation of procedural due rights, except for the fact that you have no procedural due rights if you're not in the United States of America. So, unfortunately, the Constitution, Donald Trump knew this, the Constitution only goes into effect once you're in the United States. The U.S. Constitution does not apply to people in Mexico. So if you were in Mexico and the United States didn't allow you into the United States of America for a court hearing, there is no due process violation because you're not under the Constitution of the United States because you've never actually entered the U.S. It's the same theory, by the way, when you come into an airport and you get summarily found inadmissible. Before you go through immigration and before you get your luggage and you walk out of those customs doors where you see all the people with their balloons, welcome, welcome, and, the guys saying, hey, come in my taxi, certainly at JFK Airport, that's how it is. Until you get through those doors, you haven't entered the United States. And if you haven't entered the United States, the Constitution doesn't apply to you. And it's the same theory in Mexico. The Constitution didn't apply, and therefore Trump was able to schedule asylum hearings for people and didn't allow them to go in to the United States to have their asylum hearing, and then said, sorry, case denied. And the Constitution, he said, that's really unfair. It is unfair. And if they were in the United States and they were prevented from going to court, it would be a procedural and substantive due process violation of the Constitution, except the Constitution doesn't apply if you're not in the United States. So now President Biden, if you remember, he halted the Remain in Mexico policy his first day in office. He allowed 26,000 asylum seekers with active cases to return to the United States. This is the 34,000 who had court hearings, who Trump scheduled the court hearing, let them stay in Mexico. They didn't show up. Case denied. Go home. You're not allowed in America. And you, wow, that's completely unfair. But again, the Constitution doesn't apply to people in Mexico. You have to be in the United States for the U.S. Constitution to actually apply to you. So Biden is changing that policy. It's a nice, good thing to do. I hope he does it with good optics. Because from a humanitarian standpoint, there was 34,000 people whose if they were on the other side of the border, had a blatant disregard for the Constitution of the United States of America, except they were on the Mexican side. Problem why I say with optics is, probably doesn't look good politically to go find 34,000 people in Central America, put them on airplanes and bring them back to America for court hearings. Probably, I would think that the Republicans and Fox News will have a field day on that one. So I hope Biden does it with good optics, because even though his heart may be in the right place, politically, probably not the smartest move in the world. But we'll find out. I'm in favor of it as long as it's done optically, because I got to think long term. Everyone's got to think long term. We need the Democrats to stay in power. Meanwhile, a procedural vote, we talked about this yesterday, the sweeping voting rights bill, a procedural vote to open debate on the Democrats' election bill legislation was defeated yesterday by a tally of 50-50, falling short of the 60 votes needed to succeed and end the filibuster. And we talked about the filibuster yesterday. The filibuster means you need 60 votes to end debate so you could have a vote on whether or not to pass legislation. So if 60 senators don't vote to end the filibuster, debate goes on indefinitely forever. So 10 votes short, 50 Democrats voted in favor, 50 Republicans voted against. Now, Democratic senators say the legislation is necessary to counter state-level efforts to restrict voting access. Republicans have said it's a partisan power grab. And you know what? The reality is this, okay? Both the Democrats and Republicans, they're trying to fix the voting rights to benefit them. Of course, Democrats benefit when more people vote. More people vote Democrat than Republican. Republicans benefit by preventing working class people, and preventing minorities from voting. So that's what this is all about. It is a power grab in the sense that the Democrats are doing it to benefit themselves. They're also doing it to benefit democracy. Democracy works a lot better when more people vote. But certainly, more people voting helps Democrats. Less people voting helps Republicans. Now, the bill's failure to move forward is going to force Democrats to confront the question of what else they can do to press the issue, and will most likely trigger a fresh outpouring of calls from progressives to eliminate this filibuster, which is what we talked about yesterday. It's the 60 votes needed to end the debate to have a vote. Now, the votes are not there yet to eliminate the filibuster, because you need at least 50 votes to change the law to end the filibuster. And many moderate Democrats, including Senator Manchin from West Virginia, are against it. But when Senator Manchin sees that his bills are not being passed either, and he wants to pass his bills, and some of the other moderate Democrats see their bills not being passed, perhaps there could be a grand compromise in the Democratic Party, which is what is needed. A grand compromise, not between Republicans and Democrats, but between progressives and moderates in the Democratic Party. That the progressives won't get everything they want, the moderates won't get everything they want, but if the Democrats have a policy in place and can pass laws, ultimately, I would believe that would help them in the midterm elections not to lose control. And that would help Biden, if he chooses to run for president again in 2024, to win. The worst thing in the world that could happen is they don't end the filibuster. There is gridlock in the United States Senate. Nothing passes. And the Republicans point to the Democrats as do-nothings. They did nothing to help you. It's the same old thing with Democrats. They've passed nothing. They do nothing. And the reason they don't pass anything and the reason they don't do anything is because all of their policies are radical and nobody likes it. So if the Democrats are able to get a grand compromise amongst themselves, because they have a big umbrella of people from extraordinarily liberal people to extraordinarily moderate centered people, they can get a grand compromise to get all 50 together. You're going to see voting rights acts passed, environment passed. You're going to see infrastructure passed. And most importantly, as we talked about yesterday, you are going to see immigration passed. Now, it may not be the grand compromise. It may not be everything in the Biden, Immigration Act of 2021. It may be half of that. But you know what? I'll take half rather than zero. The Democrats need a grand compromise amongst themselves. As part of that grand compromise on all of these different issues, they agree to end the filibuster and pass their legislation. I hope that's what happens. Meanwhile, this is quite comical in a way. I read yesterday that the Daily Beast, they reported yesterday that former President Donald Trump tried to get the Justice Department involved to investigate Saturday Night Live, the sketch show on NBC at 11:30 at night, because they were mocking him. In a tweet no longer available because Trump is still banned from Twitter due to inciting a violent insurrection, the man in question said, "It's truly incredible that shows like Saturday Night Live, not funny, no talent, can spend all of their time knocking the same person, me, over and over without so much of a mention of the other side. Should the Federal Election Commission and or the FCC look into this?" Now, two anonymous sources told the Daily Beast that Trump had talked to lawyers and advisors on what the Justice Department could do to put an end to Saturday Night Live, to put an end to mocking him. So even if Trump didn't have the power to retaliate against SNL because the show is satire, and since it's satire, it is protected under the freedom of speech, the fact that he thought he could is really scary. And all jokes aside, it is an obvious abuse of power. And despite the fact that he's no longer in office, it shows that he tried to silence anyone who disagreed with him or questioned him on his decisions, even on a sketch show that hurt his poor little pumpkin feelings. Now, according to people familiar with the matter, there's the Manhattan investigation of the Trump organization and Donald Trump and the Trump family. Now, according to people familiar with the matter, New York prosecutors are investigating whether a top Trump organization executive, Matthew Calamari, received tax-free fringe benefits as part of their probe into whether Trump's company and its employees illegally avoided paying taxes on such perks. Now, prosecutors' interest in Calamari, once Trump's bodyguard, indicates that their probe into the Trump organization's alleged practice of providing some employees with cars and apartments extends beyond the weasel, Alan Weisselberg, the company's chief financial officer. Neither Calamari nor Weisselberg nor anyone else connected to the company has been accused of any wrongdoing yet. The office of the Manhattan District Attorney, Cyrus Vance Jr., has been pressuring Weisselberg for months to cooperate in its investigation. And just yesterday, New York City had an election to decide who's going to be the next district attorney. It's coming up in a few months. They're going to decide. We don't know who won yet. There's two people still in the running. We don't know who won yet. They're going to announce who the new district attorney is going to be. And we'll see if they continue this against Donald Trump. We'll find out. So it's not, so the new, well, we got to watch the news and see who wins the district attorney in Manhattan and see if they are willing to go up against Trump. It's not going to be this district attorney. It's going to be the next one. I'm going to have a new district attorney in a few months. So we'll find out what's going on there. Meanwhile, in coronavirus news, the United States has more than 33.5 million confirmed coronavirus cases, 602,000 deaths. Deaths are going down. We're not having as many anymore, thank God. Worldwide, there are more than 179 million cases, more than 3.9 million deaths. A CDC advisory panel met today to weigh the risks of COVID vaccinations for young adults after reports of heart inflammation among a small number of teens. As of June 14th, U.S. health authorities had confirmed 323 cases of myocarditis, which is an inflammation of the heart muscle, or pericarditis, which is inflammation of the sac that surrounds the heart, in people younger than 30 who had received either the Pfizer or the Moderna vaccines. That's out of more than 310 million doses administered. 30 people younger, 323 people got sick under 30 out of 310 million doses. Now, the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices said in May that the relatively few reports of myocarditis appear to be mild and are below the expected baseline rates. A report from the Inspector General of the Department of Health and Human Services found that deaths among Medicare patients in nursing homes soared by 32% last year. It is the most comprehensive look yet at COVID as it ravaged the most vulnerable victims. 4 in 10 Medicare recipients in nursing homes likely had COVID in 2020. And released government records show that 900 U.S. Secret Service employees tested positive for the coronavirus. The Delta variant, first detected in India, now represents more than 20% of infections in the U.S. in the last 2 weeks. Declining U.S. infection rates are beginning to plateau, and there is increasing concern that could be because of the Delta variant. India has become the second country after the United States to report more than 30 million infections. Brazil has 505,000 deaths, second only to the United States. Meanwhile, if you live in New York City and have not been vaccinated yet, Mayor Bill de Blasio announced today that the city will provide in-home inoculations in an effort to get more residents vaccinated. The city will come to you. The city already offered the service to homebound residents, but now it includes anybody. Just call up the city and they'll come to you and give you a jab. You don't have to go to them. The city has counted more than 9 million vaccinations so far. All right, guys, you ready for some hump day? Why not? We have any the camels are ready to come out. We have a camel, maybe one or two. There it is. Our cartoon camels, because the real camels are in the studio. We couldn't get them over into the conference room. So we have a good approximation of what our real camels look like. It is the cartoon camels. Let's see what's going on Hump Day, guys. All right, so starting in Japan, a team of emergency rescue divers was confused after responding to the scene of a nude, drowning woman, only to discover it was actually a floating life-size sex doll. Yes, we cannot do any Hump Day here without at least one sex doll story. They brought out the entire rescue crew in this town in Japan, and it turns out that it was not a floating dead body. It was a nude sex doll. The crazy situation was chronicled on Twitter by YouTuber Natsuki Tanaka, who had initially believed she was witnessing a real-life rescue in the city of Hachinoi, off of Japan's northeast coast, Kotaku. While filming a fishing video, I thought a dead body floating in the water had washed up, but it was a blow-up doll, Tanaka wrote. The influencer, who has more than 272,000 subscribers on YouTube, added that someone else had mistakenly phoned the authorities over the drowning naked woman, prompting a, quote, Blues Brothers-esque army of emergency service vehicles to arrive, ready to rescue what they thought was a person in peril with no clothes on. Indeed, accompanying photos showed multiple fire and rescue brigades, police, and an ambulance working to get the dummy from the water in front of crowds of onlookers who were shocked that there was a naked woman floating in the water. Thankfully, the adult toy was rescued safely. Nobody died. And hopefully that adult toy went back to its owner. It's certainly unclear how this blow-up doll ended up in the water in the first place. However, another Twitter user, who also documented the bizarre rescue, chalked up the incident to illegal dumping of oversized trash, which is unsurprising given Japan's stringent laws concerning garbage disposal. They also have come out with a new Morse code acronym, SOS. No longer is for drowning victims. It is also SOS stands for Save Our Sex Doll. Meanwhile, do we have the video of the streaker? Did you see this on Sunday during the final round of the U.S. Open? A golf fan decided to rush the course before Bryson DeChambeau shot on the 13th hole. There he is in the video captured by Rich Beam, the streaker sporting a visor what looks like a woman's crop top, shorts, and a gay pride flag as a cape. While carrying a golf club and golf balls, he decided to smack a few balls while dancing for the fans at Torrey Pines. The fun did not stop there as security swarmed him. The fan pretended to give himself up, but then sprinted away at the last second. A security guard on a golf course cut him off and then tackled him to the ground. The fan's name is Connor Murphy. He was able to avoid jail time. According to his Instagram, he was spreading awareness for gay pride. And finally, since we had our elections yesterday, they were held yesterday in New York City. However, it was not a good day for one city council candidate who was running in Manhattan. He found himself in a late-breaking case of electoral bondage. Video of candidate Zach Wiener. Yes, Wiener is his last name. 26 years old, enjoying a sadomasochist session, found its way onto Twitter. The tweet from the anonymous account, which posted the video last week, said, "My magnificent dome friend played with Upper West Side City Council candidate Zach Wiener." It's not dome, I guess Dom friend played with Upper West Side City Council candidate Zach Wiener, and I'm the only one who has the footage. Can you imagine this guy is running for city council? Look at him. Oh, I'm cringing. I'm totally cringing. The footage shows a gagged Wiener, unable to speak, I'm cringing looking at this, subjecting himself to various abuses by a leather-bound woman who pours wax on him. The footage was filmed at the Parthenon Studio in Manhattan, which is, I guess, a BDSM dungeon. Now, Wiener said in a statement, because we have to give him his due, "I didn't want anyone to see that, but here we are. I am not ashamed of the private video circulating of me on Twitter. That was a recreational activity that I did with my friend at the time for fun. Like many young people, I've grown into a world where some of our most private moments are documented online. I'm a proud BDSMer. I like BDSM activity." Well, he likes it so much, he lost the election, unfortunately. And that is our hump day for the day. You guys, before I get to our immigration questions, I want you to leave all your immigration questions in our comment section. I'm going to answer everybody's immigration questions, so please leave them right now. I'm going to give myself a 1-minute breather. And in today's Braducation, I talked about the 7 things you should never post on social media if you're trying to get a visa or United States residency or naturalization. Let's watch our Braducation. It's only on OnlyFans. I do have my clothes on. There is no BDSM on Brad Show Live OnlyFans with Uncle Brad. Fully clothed, giving people Braducations and legal advice. I am the only fully clothed non-BDSM lawyer on OnlyFans, and I'm damn proud of it. Let's go to Braducation. My goal is straightforward: to make the law usable and easy to understand for everyone. All of us in the United States have equal rights and should have an equal opportunity and a right to justice. I'm here to help because I want everybody to achieve their American dream. I'm Brad Bernstein, and this is your Immigration Braducation. I'm not here to tell you what you want to know. I'm here to tell you what you need to know. U.S. immigration law is complex and the regulations are constantly changing. My objective is to make the law easy for you to understand so that you can use the justice system, know your rights, take advantage of the law, and achieve your American dream. The Department of Homeland Security collects the social media information of not only anyone who is trying to get a visa or United States residency, but even those who are already naturalized United States citizens. From aliases to photos to likes, all of this is collected and stored in your permanent immigration digital files. So social media posts can be used against you in your immigration case. Now, obviously, the first rule of thumb is to use common sense and think before you post for all the world to see. But some posts that can get you in trouble might really surprise you. Number 1, don't post that you're getting a new job. Number 2, do not post that you are looking for work in the United States if you do not have work authorization. 3, do not post questions on how to set up a United States company in order to obtain a visa. 4, if you are traveling to the United States on a non-immigrant visa, do not post for immigration lawyer suggestions. Number 5, do not post green card questions about getting married. This will raise red flags to the authorities. 6, do not post photographs of yourself which you look like you have multiple girlfriends or boyfriends if you're going into the immigration service for your bona fide marriage interview. Number 7, do not friend strangers. Always be cautious about who you are friending and associating with, because now on social media you can friend people located anywhere in the world. You always say to your children, be careful of strangers. Well, the same thing goes for adults. If you friend someone on social media who is a security risk to the United States of America, well, guess what? Now you're going to be considered a security risk to the United States of America also. Even if you never met this person, have no idea who they are, or did anything wrong yourself, you will be considered a security risk. So I can't state it enough. Use common sense when making friends on social media. And finally, I'm not telling anyone to break the law, but be very cautious about what you have stored on your phone in email and text messages and direct messages on social media, because you have no right to privacy on your phone at the U.S. border or any airport. And remember, too much information is TMI. All right, let's get to our social media check-in. Let's see what's going on. I'm going to start on Facebook because yesterday I started on YouTube. Amanda Briggs asks a question. Hello, can I travel in advance parole if I overstayed my visa by 5 years? Will the 3 to 10 year bar be in effect? No, you can travel on advance parole for short, innocent trips abroad. That's why I always tell people, you can travel on the advanced parole, keep your trip under 4 weeks, because 4 weeks or less, I can argue all day long, is a short, innocent trip abroad. You could probably travel for 2 months. You could probably even travel for 3 months, and they wouldn't give you a problem. After that, maybe you're not such a short, innocent trip abroad, and then immigration could always start asking you questions at the border. If you are over 6 months, for sure, 3 and 10 year bars are going to start kicking in. So be safe. Don't be sorry. I tell people 4 weeks. If it's 4.5 weeks, I'm sure you won't have a problem either. But really try to keep it 4 weeks or less. Short trips, no problem. All right. So enjoy your trip, Amanda. Let's see who else is here. Renee Adi Weller with a question. Hello, as a U.S. citizen, can I file for my mom and sister at the same time? You can, except mom and sister are going to get green cards at different times. Mom is an immediate relative and is going to get a green card pretty fast. Your sister will not be included on your mom's application, although there is a question, what is the name of your mother's children? So everybody always thinks that, oh, they're included on the case. They're not. In that particular instance, children are not. So you would have to file for your sister on a separate application. And unfortunately, that's going to take 15 years. The faster way is file for mom. Mom comes to the U.S., sister remains unmarried, and then file for sister. If sister's underage, then I think you should have a consultation with us, especially if sister is going to be left alone in their home country. And let's figure out what other options we can come up with. And let's see who else we got here. A lot of people watching. Andrea Wilson with a question, a long one. Hey, Brad, my husband filed a petition for my son and I first in March, but in May, papers were sent back with a notice to reject. Uh-oh. He sent the documents back in May, and about a week ago, I saw that my money orders were cashed, but have not received the receipt notice as yet. Can you give me any ideas what that may mean? I would like to know if there was any recent relaxing of rules where working without an EAD while my petition is processing due to the coronavirus. All right. Number one, if your money orders were cashed, that means they accepted your case. Congratulations. Number two, if you're married to a United States citizen, the fact that you worked undocumented or without a work permit does not prevent you from getting your green card. So if you have a job and you want to work undocumented, fine. There's an American company or American family that wants to hire you. That's their problem, not your problem. You can certainly go work. It's not going to prevent you from getting your green card. Obviously, when you get your work permit, you're working documented instead of undocumented. Tamain Ramdeen with a question. Brad, good day. I filed an I-130 from my mom, and I got my approval letter from April 27th. But 2 weeks ago, USCIS sent me a letter requesting for more evidence, and it's been 2 weeks now since I sent back the paper that was missing. So my question is, how long before I hear from USCIS again? Well, I don't think you got an approval letter. I think you got an RFE, a request for more evidence, a receipt notice, and then a request for more evidence. If you filed in April 27th, don't expect to hear anything back until end of the winter. And we're in summer right now. Unfortunately, immigration is very, very slow these days. Let's see who else we got here. Zach Latif Rahman. My I-130 is pending now. The USCIS asked for an RFE, but some documents I can't add my sponsor because she doesn't have status and ID. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Let's ask this question one more time. My I-130 is pending now. The USCIS asked for an RFE, but some documents I can't. I don't have to add my sponsor because she doesn't have status and ID. How does your sponsor have no status? How is she sponsoring you if she's undocumented? So I'm not sure what you're asking, Zach. You got to be more specific, or alternatively, see the number scrolling on the bottom. Give us a call and you can schedule a consultation with me. And he's being more specific now. My I-130 is pending now. The USCIS asked for an RFE. I don't know what they're asking in the RFE, Zach. Call 1-800-529-5465. Natasha Babron. Hi, Brad. Babarum. Like I guess the children's book, Babar. Hi, Brad. When USCIS asks for a medical, what does it mean based on the I-45 pending? A lot of people, if you didn't file medical with your adjustment, you get a letter back saying, a deficiency letter saying you're missing the medical exam. It doesn't mean anything. What it means is bring the medical to the time of the interview. They'll continue to process your case if that's what you were referring to. Zach Latif Rahman, with maybe more information on this RFE issue. My I-130 is pending now. The USCIS asked for an RFE, but some documents I can't add my spouse because he doesn't have status and ID. I only submitted I-130. Only my wife is LPR, and she sponsored me. Wait a second. How does your spouse not have status, but your wife's a resident, she sponsored you? Or you're saying you don't have documents? I'm not sure what documents they're asking for. So I really think, because I've tried to read your question 3 times now, call Brad for a consultation. You see this thing scrolling on the bottom right here? Where's my finger? There it is. You see this thing scrolling on the bottom right there? It's a huge finger in small little letters. Call Brad for a consultation. Because you've asked it 3 times. I still don't understand what you're asking me. All right. Andrea Wilson with a question. Hi, Brad. My husband filed a petition for my son and I first in March, but in May papers were sent. Oh, I asked that one already. Let's see who else we got here. Amanda Briggs. I answered her, Amanda. Thank you. Chechik Omar Odigi. Hi, Brad. My I-45 was denied, and I'm in removal proceedings, but I didn't see a judge yet. I have a pending VAWA and I-45 since January 2020. Can I apply for a travel document and travel abroad? No, you Chichik, because if you're in removal proceedings and you leave the United States, you've self-deported. Stay right where you are. You got to get through the removal situation, and then you can travel. Stargirl. Just with a pre-comment or post-comment, but a pre-comment of the day. Brad, you know, but you don't know how much I appreciate you. My thank you will never be enough. Oh, well, thank you very much. And I'm happy everything's working out for you, Stargirl. John Unique. Hey, Brad, good afternoon to you. Can a green card holder file for their fiance in a different country? No. A green card holder has to go marry the fiance and file as a wife. There is no fiance visa for green card holder. There's only fiance visa for U.S. citizen. Donald Johnson. I've been arrested in 2018 for a domestic affair and was held in jail. I guess that would be a domestic violence thing, not a domestic affair. You don't get arrested for cheating on your spouse. You do get arrested for assault of your spouse. So I guess that's what you mean by domestic affair. And I was held in jail and in court, and I was released on a disorderly conduct charge, but was stopped at the airport when entering back in the country last 3 weeks ago, and then questioned and then write up a release. And now I'm scared to travel. So is it safe to travel after that, as I'm a green card holder? And the answer is yes. And next time you travel with your disposition, because even though you were arrested for a domestic violence, which is some sort of assault accusation against you, ultimately the case ended up being a disorderly conduct. A disorderly conduct, at least in New York State and in most states, is a violation. I'm not sure what state you're in. I'm assuming New York, but if you're in another state, just confirm it's a violation. Travel with your disposition. So if you're asked again, it's always going to pop up, domestic violence arrest. So you show your disposition. Aha, arrested for domestic violence, convicted of a disorderly conduct. Let me in, Mr. ICE officer. And that'll make it a lot easier for you, hopefully. Eventually you'll become a citizen. It won't become an issue. Hopefully you don't get arrested again. Terry, the real Schmooze. Or really it's Terry the real slim ass, but I like saying Terry the real Schmooze. Hi, Brad. I've been waiting for a call. Terry the real Schmooze. We will call you. I promise you. And that is everything I see here. Brian Abdul, what year the NVC reached for parents sponsor adult unmarried children? The NVC reach? Well, you can go on the visa waiting list, Brian. Let's see what the visa waiting list is, the visa bulletin. I'm going to type it. And the visa bulletin for unmarried children of U.S. citizens for July 2021. July is already out. They're up to May 15th, 2016 for processing your case. And for those who file before November 15th, 2014, those people will be getting green card appointments or should be getting green card appointments. Let's go to YouTube, see what's going on YouTube. What are our questions? Katie and Smith, I did an interview almost 3 years, January coming and still waiting. What should I do? Mandamus or a threat of a mandamus. That's what you need to do, Katie and Smith. Kofi Agi, can my I-751 adjust if I filed as extreme cruelty? If you can prove bona fide marriage and abuse, you can get your green card approved on the I-751. Cami876, can my sister-in-law petition for my employment green card to come to America, Brad? No. Sister-in-law, you can't get sponsored by family for job sponsorships. Carolina P, with procedures like this, nothing will ever get passed from any side. I guess she's referring to the what's going on with the Senate with the filibuster. MJ, I'm a permanent resident, and I recently found out that I've been registered to vote since 2013. I've canceled it. I've never voted. Will this affect my citizenship application if I apply next year? It depends on how you found what you did to get on the voter rolls. Under Trump, you would have been denied. Biden changed the law that said if it was an innocent mistake, you didn't vote, and you didn't make a claim to U.S. citizenship. Sometimes when you go to do your driver's license, they just say, hey, you want to vote? And you say, yeah. Sometimes people canvassing and say, hey, let me sign you up for voter registration. And they didn't ask if you were a citizen. So it depends the circumstances, but you may have a way out of it. So hopefully that's the case, MJ. We would need to speak about your specific facts. Dean Stiles Hall, I see where the monthly bulletin dates are different from the dates given by the service center. I'm a bit confused on the date I should follow. Well, it depends on what you're trying to follow. The monthly bulletin dates are who is eligible for a green card. The dates given by the service center is where they are in terms of somebody physically looking at your application. CB, hello, Brad. I thought you guys were going to get in touch with me. CB, leave your number. We'll get in touch with you. I'm sorry if we didn't, but please leave your number. Let's see where else we are. I lost Susu. I had my interview and CB, you can, by the way, CB, you can always call if you see that you want to reach us and you were expecting a call and you didn't get a call from us. Maybe we called, you didn't answer, or blah, 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 or maybe things got messed up and we just didn't call you. There's a telephone number scrolling on the bottom of the show the entire time. Just pick up the phone and call right now. Somebody will answer the phone and speak to you and schedule a time to speak to me. Susu, I had my interview. All the officer took was my medical and some yes and no questions. She also gave me a paper to sign. Is that normal? Sometimes, yes. Mario Valaterra, hey, Brad, I gave you my number in Instagram. Okay, we'll call you. I promise you, Mario. Kofi Agi, can my I-751 adjust if I filed as extreme cruelty? I answered that. Luis Barajas, he is deported 2018. I'm in Mexico. I need more facts, Luis. Andrea McKenzie, hey, I'm waiting on my interview since 2020. How soon will I get an interview? I have no idea, Andrea. I don't know what you're doing. Give me more information. McCann Tarot, hi, Brad, can you travel while your visa is pending if you have a removal order as the U visa rules change now? No. If you have a removal order and you leave the country, you've self-deported. Don't do it. Anu Chandra, I have a category C30 I-765 EAD valid until 2023. I file the I-360. If the I-360 gets rejected, I hope I am not put in removal proceedings as I have a C30 visa valid until 2023. Well, if you're in legal status despite the I-360, then you will not be put in removal proceedings, Anu. Ren. Hey, Brad, can an overstay parent of a U.S. citizen child adjust their status? Can an overstay parent of a U.S. If that child is over 21, yes. If the child is under 21, Ren, you got to wait for the child to be 21. So 21-year-old U.S. citizen son or daughter of an overstay parent can file, that parent can file an adjustment. Mario Valaterra. My case was administratively closed in 2012. I attended my interview in April 21. My I-130 was approved. My I-45 was not. Case needs to be terminated. What do I need to do? My case was so you're in removal proceedings, Mario. So you need to recalendar your removal hearing, show the judge your approved I-130, and the judge is going to put you on for a final hearing for your I-485. S. Brito. With some news about ICE and equal access appellate rights bill with overwhelming support. So that's good news. Max up 54 AM Bless. Hi, Brad. My friend went to her interview on Monday, but she didn't bring any documents but 3 months bank statements because I didn't have a social security card. So my husband could not add me to anything. That is a statement, Max up. What would you like me to answer with that? Ask a question. Mohammed Tijani, hi, Brad, what's requirements for an N400? Well, it depends. Let's assume you're basing it on 5 years of having a green card. It's 5 years, good moral character, know how to read, write, and speak English, and pass a literacy and history test, and be otherwise a person of good moral character who pays their taxes. MJ with a question. I was registered at the DMV. I never claimed to be a citizen. I've asked the election board to document that my registration was an error. Is that enough? Oh, yes, that's referring to your getting on the voter rolls. Absolutely, that is enough. Lincoln A, file marriage through adjustment of status to a U.S. citizen April 2021. I just got my RFE for my husband's long form birth certificate. I don't know what this other one wasn't good. What do you think we'll hear back from USCIS? The long form is what they need. There's certain birth certificates that comply with immigration law and others that don't. So if you submitted the wrong birth certificate and they ask for a long form from whatever country your husband's from, you got to submit it and then hope that, you'll hear it's going to be at least 120 days or longer. Olawusu Rose says, I jumped his question. Where's your question, Olawus? Let's see where it is. I jumped it. I don't see Olawus question. Olawus, say it again. I didn't see it. I'm sorry. Where did I leave off? Let's see. I left off at Bob Eager. Hi, Brad. I filed for my brother who is out of status. The I-130 got approved and the case is now at the National Visa Center. Does he need an I-601 waiver, and do I apply for it before filing our paperwork? You cannot get if your brother is here in the U.S., he can't get his I-601A waiver unless your parents are here. So you would have to file the waiver through your parents and then complete your brother's case. But generally, you need a good lawyer to get those waivers approved. But you can't get a waiver approved from brother to brother. As a brother, you can complete the case, but you need a waiver through parents or through a spouse. Luis Barajas with a question. Sorry about that. I was illegal living in the United States for 35 years after being deported for illegal entry. All my family's in the U.S. Is anything I can do being deported 2018? If you were just deported one time and all your family's in the U.S., you could certainly have family members refile for you and do waivers. But we're certainly going to also need to have a telephone call so we can figure out how to help you, Louis. We'll figure out which family member is the quickest and fastest way to do it. D. Schurz, does a social security number automatically be generated when applied via adjustment of status? Also applied for adjustment of status in March. Biometric was done for work permit in February. Any ID on the frame for work permit? You should get a social security number with your work permit. Your work permits are taking 6-7 months, unfortunately, right now. Bob Iger, my cousin has an I-45 interview in December 2020. Well, I just lost his question. Where's his question? My cousin has his I-45 interview in December 2020. He has not heard anything back. What should he do at this time? Wait until January 2022. If he still hasn't heard anything, contact me for a mandamus. David Berselli, hey, Brad, what do I tell the officer when he asks about my cocaine arrest? I don't know what happened with your cocaine arrest. What am I supposed to tell you? I would need to know a lot more. And then I could advise you. Obviously, you can't lie. Hopefully, it was dismissed. And if it was dismissed, say, I got arrested for possession of cocaine, but the case was dismissed. Anu Chandra, hopefully that's the case. Don't lie, though. You would need a consultation. If you're going to immigration and you have an arrest for cocaine and you're just going in blind, not a smart move. Get a consultation. David. Anna Chandra, if I already have a legal status valid until 2023, if my I-360 gets rejected, do I have to wait 3 months before refiling the I-360, or can I file at any time? You can file at any time. And by the way, I see a whole bunch of comments from people who said I missed their question. Ask it again right now in the comments. I will answer it, but just go copy and paste it one more time, put it in right now, and I'll be happy to answer it. S. Brito, can you please explain what I posted earlier regarding the Equal Access Bill recently passed? I don't know what the Equal Access Bill is. I haven't read it yet. And the reason I haven't read it is there's so many bills being passed, your head could spin. And there's no purpose in me reading every last bill about every last thing that gets passed until we know that the Senate's going to pass something. So when I was talking about the filibuster, I meant it. So all these bills that are passed in the House, if the filibuster is not going to be busted, then what's the purpose of reading any of this? Because it's never going to pass the Senate. So once I see that the Senate's going to be able to pass immigration laws, then I'll start reading and getting excited about stuff. Right until then, it's a waste of time. At least as far as I'm concerned. Let's see where I left off here. Alawusu Ross. Alawubusolo Ross. Hi, Brad. My son's case has been approved, and I've already sent the police report of him from Africa. How long will it take for him to get his visa from Africa? I don't have the slightest idea. You would need to, hopefully soon. Makan Trejo. I got an I-360 approval, but also have a deportation order for my asylum case, and my motion to reopen was denied in 2019. Can I file another motion as prosecutorial discretion is back? Yes, you should absolutely do that. And the fact that you have your VAWA approved means they can't deport you, so you might as well try. Lincoln A., my husband is a U.S. citizen. I guess he had a short form birth certificate from Indiana. All my paperwork is good. I'm Canadian. They never asked for anything else. Okay, so everything's good. So hopefully that's the case. Carol Deacon, I got married in October. My husband is in New York City and has a job. He has overstayed his visa by 3 years. I live in Atlanta. How major a problem is this going to be when I file? Huge. Huge problem. You're not living together with him. To get your adjustment application approved, you and your spouse have to live together and have a financial relationship. It's not enough that you marry somebody in another city and see him on weekends or every couple of months. They're not going to approve those cases. They will approve cases where you live together in the same home and you have a financial relationship. So what I say to you is there is no job, even if they're paying your husband $1 million a year, that's worth keeping to remain illegal in America or file an application to get your adjustment denied and get put in deportation. Figure out how to live together. To Dave, 305, hey, Brad, when will the Haitian nationals be able to apply for TBS? I hope soon. Sometimes it takes up to 6 months to get regulations, but I would assume that the new regulations will come out very shortly. Any day, any week. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Garnett Powell, my mom's case is documentary qualified. Priority date is November 2014. I was 17 at the time of filing. Now I'm 24. Am I covered under the CSPA? USCIS approved last July 7th. So if your mom was filed in 2014, USCIS approved July 7th of 2020. That adds 6 years on. That adds 6 years on to your 21st birthday. If you have went through the entire process at the National Visa Center and you are all documentarily qualified and you get to add 6 years onto your 21st birthday, you have until 27 to get your green card. You're in, my man. Or my lady. I don't know if you're a woman or a man. You're in, my man. You're in, my lady. Whatever it is, but you're in. Rolls Royce. They should get rid of the 3 and 10 year bars. I agree. Who else we got here? People are coming in with questions left and right now. Where did I leave off? Timothy Wagano, can a U visa go to school, travel? How long before a work permit? A U visa could do whatever they want, but until they come up with the regulations to apply for the work permit and deferred enforced departure, you'd be going to school undocumented. You would not be able to travel, hopefully soon. Mr. Skyline, what happens if I have a green card and been out of the country for more than a year? Can I return back to the U.S.? You may have abandoned your permanent residence. It depends on how long you stayed out. I would suggest applying for an SB visa at the U.S. Embassy to avoid any problems at the airport. Shante Brown, what form should I use to renew my green card? An I-90. Andre McKenzie, my priority date is April 2019. The National Center sent an email that all is well. So since then, I'm waiting for an interview. Can you say how long will I get an interview? I don't know. Soon, hope. They say all is well, so hopefully soon. Mr. Biggs, good evening, Mr. Brad. Can my wife come visit me while I do her file? I'm a green card holder, and how long will the filing take? If she has a visitor's visa, she can try to enter for short periods of time. If she doesn't have a visitor's visa, they're not going to give her one. Cubana, my cousin was deported with an expedited removal for 5 years. Should she wait long, or could she apply for the ending part of next year to reapply for permission to the U.S.? Who's sponsoring her? She has a permanent bar to coming back. She has the expedited removal is probably for some sort of misrepresentation or criminal record, which would give her a permanent bar. So she's going to need all sorts of waivers, I would assume. So I would need to know a lot more. Denise Johnson, hi, Brad. My aunt was a green card holder, but left about 15 years. She never came back. Now she wants to come back. What could she do? She can go to the U.S. Embassy and exchange her green card for a visitor's visa, but her green card's no good. She abandoned it. But you can try to go get a visitor's visa and say, hey, I've had a green card. I never wanted to live in America. Can I get a visitor's visa? I'd just like to visit. And most likely they would give it to her. Or maybe she has children here who are over 21 who are U.S. citizens who could file for her. Blessing Odin, I'm an LPR waiting on my I-751 approval. If I file, my kids live in Africa, how long will it take before they get their green cards? I'm an LPR waiting on my I-751 approval. If they're under 21, you can file for them right now. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for the I-751 to be approved. If you file for them now, they're under 21 about 2 years. If they're over 21, 5. As long as they're unmarried, or 6 years, something like that. File now. Don't wait any longer. For Tina Park, is there any change or speed on in VAWA? There's no changes to VAWA. It's just taking longer and longer because they're getting so many of these applications now. Max Up 89 Bless. Okay, Brad, do you think I will get my green card without any documentation? I'm not sure what you're asking, Max Up. Please be more specific. God's Grace. Can your husband file for you if he is on child support? He went to the child support because he was divorced. If he's paying child support, he can file for you. If he's back due on child support, it could cause a problem because saying, hey, he can't even support his own kids, let alone another family member. So it depends on what you mean by he's on child support. Everblessed Bev. Hey, Brad, is it normal to get an adjustment of status interview before getting a work permit? Yeah, I've seen it. It's not normal, but I've seen it happen. Mario Valetari. I heard it takes 2 to 3 years anyway to speed it up on this administration. I don't know what you're referring to. Anushandra. Is there a way to find out if my ex-husband received his green card? I'm not in touch with him as he has 2 years to file VAWA since divorce. As I have 2 years to file VAWA since divorce, or as it requires a consultation. You can file a VAWA and just assume your husband has a green card and let immigration look it up. That's the way I would do it. Because I wouldn't wait to find out, to figure out if he has a green card and then 2 years past the divorce and now you're screwed. So file your VAWA, take it on the assumption that your husband has a green card and get it in before 2 years of a divorce. Let immigration look. Immigration could definitely look up whether he has a green card or not. And yes, you probably need a divorce. And yes, you probably need a consultation. Life on Leo. Hi, Dave. Who's Dave? There's no Dave here. It's Brad. But you want to call me Dave? Fine. Harry. Life of Harry. All right. So Life of Harry says, hi, Dave. I'm doing a master's program at the same time for EB3 unskilled worker. Will my master's degree adversely affect my filing? No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Tristari, I'm getting Social Security benefits, but I'm in removal proceedings. What's going to happen if my case is not approved? Do I still get my benefits? No, you don't. Because you don't get Social Security benefits if you get deported. Boo Boo Jade, on removal proceedings and my spouse filed I-130, the petition is approved. Can I apply for an I-131? No, you can. No, you cannot. That's the advanced parole. You would self-deport. You got to wait for your green card. Rolls Royce, when should I file an I-601 waiver after an interview at an embassy or before the interview? After the interview. Max Up, hi, Brad. My question was, do you think I will get a green card? I didn't have enough documents because I didn't have a Social Security card. I went to the interview on Monday. The interview person was bad. I don't know. I wasn't there, and I don't know what you submitted, Max Up. So you're asking me to take wild guesses. Paul Machara, my daughter from I-131 was denied because she stayed away for more than 4 years. Can she appeal, although it was indicated? You can't appeal more than 4 years after the fact. So I'm not even sure what you're asking, Paul. William Grimshaw. Hey, Brad, U.S. immigration issued me a green card in error and I got deported. How can I come back? I was not 245I. I received my green card in the U.S. Well, if they gave it to you in error and you got deported, you would need to have a consultation so we can figure out why they gave you a green card in error and how to fix it. And finally, Mario Valetari with a question. I'm on proceedings of removal. I need to terminate my case in order for my I-45 gets approved. I heard it takes 2 to 3 years. Anyway, speed up on this administration. Yeah, it's called motion to recalendar. That's what you do. All right, let's see what's going on Facebook. For final questions on Facebook. What year is the NVC reach for parents, sponsors, adult, unmarried children? I answered that question already. Let's see if there's anything else on Facebook. Marisha Everly, hello, I'm married to a United States citizen. I submitted for my I-360 19 months ago. However, it updated today and said it's been scheduled for an interview. I have not submitted the I-45 yet. What should I expect? An interview. It's exactly what you should expect. Samantha Jones, good evening, Mr. Brad. My husband petitions. That's why, by the way, you should always file an I-360 and I-45. It's such a waste of time not to do it together. Samantha Jones, good evening, Mr. Brad. My husband petitions for me. He was abusive towards me. I left the marriage. We didn't show up at the interview, and we got a denial letter. But right after that, I filed my VAWA. My question is, do I have to refile the I-45 back? Also, my lawyer only filed the I-360. If your I-45 was denied, you would have to refile a new I-45. The I-360 is getting you nothing. So if your I-45 is still pending, you don't need a new one. You can't have two I-45s pending. You can convert the I-45 from a marriage to a VAWA. But if your I-45 is denied, you got to refile a new adjustment in order to get your work permit and get the case moving. So absolutely, I would. Myrtle Ray, hi, Brad. Can you on food stamps and file for adult children asking for someone? Well, you can file for your adult children. It's going to take years and years and years. Hopefully, you're off food stamps by then. So it doesn't matter that you're on food stamps at the moment. It matters when they become eligible for their green cards. Hawa. Hi, Brad. I came here on an F1 visa. I graduated and got my master's degree in computer science. I wasn't going to stay, but things got terrible back home in Iraq. So I went to a lawyer and advised me to file for asylum in 2017 before my I-20 got expired. My question, can my employer sponsor me for H-1B or EB-2? Can you explain to me? Yes, they can, because there's never been a time when you've been out of status. You are on a student, and then you filed for asylum. So then you were in asylum status. So there was never any time where you were undocumented in America. So as long as there was no time that you were undocumented in America and your asylum case is still pending, you can do a job sponsorship and then ultimately adjust your status and withdraw your asylum case. Nina God Pickney, Uncle Brad, I need your eyes. Please just look over things. What do you want me to look over, Nini? I need to know more. Jonathan Emmanuel Pajuelo. How are you? The Citizenship Act of 2021 is available for someone who voluntarily departed with the U.S. wife and 2 children. No, it's not. It hasn't even passed yet. So let's see what happens. Tommy Frost. I married in 2017 to a United States citizen. I filed my I-130. I got my Social Security and work permit. And I was waiting on an interview day. Then I got a letter that my case was denied, and I have 33 days to respond, or else I'm going to be put in removal process, never to get any letter from them now. I got a divorce, was having problems with my wife. Now I got married again to another U.S. citizen. What should I do now? File an adjustment immediately before they put you in removal. Just because they wrote you a letter saying you're going to be put in removal, but you never did, lucky you. File again quickly now. Shan Christian. The abuse alone should have been enough. I don't know who she's talking about. All right. And Nina God Pickney says, it's my I-751. I will look at it, Nina, if I know where it is. All right. And let's see what's quickly. Last questions on YouTube before I say goodnight. Cubana. She was found inadmissible to the United States under the provision of 219A9, A237. I don't know what 219A9 and 237 is. I would need to know a lot more, Cubana. Have a consultation. Call the number on the bottom. Vanish Beckward, my friend-in-law. Hey, Brad, my in-law has been waiting in Jamaica, got approved 2019. How do we go about finding out what's up? I would need to know what they got approved for. And then I can tell you what's up. Deanna Quora, hi, Brad. I have a citizenship interview coming. I lost my green card. I have a police report. Can I take a copy of that interview? Yeah, why not? As long as you have some other photo ID. And Rihanna telling Cubana to look into humanitarian parole. Cubana saying, okay, thanks, Rihanna. I think you need to look into hiring a lawyer to figure out what's going on first before you start randomly filing more paperwork that may or may not be correct. Cubana and Rihanna. All right, and that is it. All my advice for the day. Let's go to comments of the day. Our first comment of the day is from Pretty Chef Ferreira. She says, I can't believe all the money I wasted when all the information was here for free all along. LOL. Our second comment of the day from Timro Hamro. Amazing show, good information. Thank you very much, Timro. Our third comment of the day from Seema Singh. Brad, I don't miss none of your shows. You're doing such a wonderful job. I'm learning so much. God bless you and your team. Love you. And finally, our last comment of the day from Donald Johnson. I appreciate you, General Brad. You are the boss. Thank you very much. I hope we get our wires back. I hope to be in our studio tomorrow rather than in my conference room. I hope to be joined by Jonathan and Vanessa. Have a full Brad show live. Thanks all for watching. Do me a few favors before you leave. Give me a thumbs up on YouTube if you liked the show. Give me a thumbs up on Facebook if you liked on Facebook. Please follow and like us on Facebook. Please subscribe on YouTube so you get notified every time we come on live. And remember, tomorrow we'll be live at 6 o'clock for a full Brad show live, taking calls. Hopefully we're back in our studio. And if you need help with immigration, you want to have a consultation with me, the number's on the bottom. Call for a consultation. Fiona's standing by to answer your calls right now, to schedule them for me. 1-800-529-5465. Internationally, 212-227-8933. I'm out of here. We'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching.